Twins left. Check zone. Check zone. All right, we're going to get Brown, 570, wide curl on 2.
4-3 step, swing strong. Open cannon, Mike Pop.
Hello, and welcome to In the Huddle. I'm your host, J.C. Thomas, broadcasting live from the Savior Station. We're here every Wednesday from 6 to 7. If you don't catch me here, make sure you check us out on the DeepPost.com. Look on the football section. We'll always be there. Hey, we're back here again. Alex, my good friend Alex, my co-host who started this thing with me. Alex, we're here on Veterans Day. You and I get ready to talk about a Mountaineer victory for the first time in a couple of weeks. So I want to go ahead and just break the huddle and get this thing moving. Alex, the Mountaineers, first of all, let me do this, because I just mentioned this Veterans Day. Let's make sure we thank our veterans for all they do for our nation. And this Veterans Day, make sure that we all have a happy Veterans Day. And always for those special veterans who are Mountaineer fans, hopefully we'll see you this weekend and we'll do some celebrating with you. So now let's get through.
Happy Veterans Day to my Uncle Dave, my cousin Dave, and DJ, and Chris, all my veteran friends and family members.
Absolutely, absolutely, guys. Thank you for your service. Guys, let's break the huddle. Alex, Mountaineers come off a 4-game losing streak. And this couldn't happen at a better time. We almost needed it. A win. We needed to have this. This was a game where the fans wanted to see us do well. The guys, I'm sure, from being on the road, wanted to come home and produce a win in front of their fans. Came against Texas Tech. A team that's 4-5, we were able to move up 4-4, and we're 4-5. We were able to move up a notch this week because of that win. Let's talk about what happened that game. I mean, we were really excited to watch how we moved the ball, and offensively, I thought we did a great job. Can we talk about what we saw early on in our run game?
I just think generally it was good to see the team show some fight. We've come off 4 disappointing losses against better teams. I think outclassed us in some respects. And I had some concerns whether the coach had lost this team. So I was happy for Coach Hogerson to see that the guys are still going to come out and put up a fight and play hard against a good Texas Tech team, at least a good offensive Texas Tech team. So my hat's off to Coach Hogerson for keeping the team together, and my hat's off to the team for continuing to fight. I thought it was important that we get out to a lead in this game. We haven't had a lead since September. That's a long time to go out of the league. To be playing from behind all the time, you're struggling, you're pressing, you've been making a lot of mistakes. So it was nice to see a lot of that be cleaned up. And I was happy to see the guys on defense really be able to shut down or be able to slow down a very potent Texas Tech offense. And all in all, it wasn't perfect, it wasn't mistake-free, but it was good enough to get a win. It's something we haven't been able to do for over a month.
Right, and I agree. It says so much, as you just mentioned, in terms of Coach Hogerson being able to manage this team and not lose the range. The guys responded. I mean, that's what you ask for guys. You ask them to respond when you need them. And we needed them this week. What I thought was really interesting is, in this show, we've talked about it many times where that first couple of drives, we did a good job of getting the ball down the field and actually scoring. And it was good to see. I felt good to watch our guys score early. It was really important in this win for guys to get in the end zone quickly, early. And I thought the play calling was effective. And anytime we do that, I think we do well. I think every game we come out and we manage to drive within the first quarter and the first couple of series, we tend to do well for ourselves. So I agree with you. The guys did it at the right time. Let's talk about in the running game specifically, because I think we had 2 players rush for over 100 yards, and those 2 players, Wendell Smallwood and Russell Shell. Let's talk about this kid, Wendell Smallwood. You and I talked earlier about him in touches. How effective was he, and what did he mean in this game?
He's the best football player on our team. We've said this for several weeks in a row now. He needs to carry the ball. He carried it 22 times. It wouldn't bother me to see him touch it 30 times. You beat up a running back like that, though, so we've got a nice tandem. Russell Shell's coming on a little bit, and quite frankly, everybody that runs against Texas Tech looks like an All-American. But Wendell Smallwood, I believe, is making steps towards being a grade A running back in the college football game. And, the running game, teams that can run the football win football games.
Absolutely.
Teams that can run the football in November especially win football games. You know how it is, but in November, by the time you got 8 or 9 games under your belt, you've got several guys out on defense, everybody's dinged up somewhere, and you see one guy's got a shoulder hurt, the other guy's got a shoulder hurt, somebody else. If you can run the ball in November, you can take the other team's heart away. You can do whatever you want with it. You can go up in the stands and take your girlfriends, you can go to their house and put muddy shoes up on their couch, and they're not going to do anything about it. That's how you win football games. And, I think Coach Holgerson is understanding that it may not be what he wants to do, but if we want to win football games, we're going to have to be effective running the ball. We've shown the ability to do that in spurts. And I know, at the end of the game, people were a little bit upset with a couple of the pass calls in that last drive, and I was upset. I don't know if maybe we need to remove the word genius away from offensive genius Dana Holgerson. Let's see this guy as human. Sometimes get a little too wed to your philosophy. He wants to be this air raid guy, throwing it all over the place. I want to win football games, and I'm sure he wants to win football games too. And I think with Skylar Howard, with the guys we've got, we need to let him develop. We need to not put Skylar in positions where he has too much on his shoulders. If you run the ball against the team effectively, run it until they stop it. Run it 80, 90% of the time if you have to. If they can't stop you, keep running it. Keep running until they do. That's how you win games.
It's effective when you see a running back, Wendell Smallwood. These are his stats: 119 yards per game, 6.7 yards per carry. Then he comes in this game, rushed for over 163 yards. We saw this all season long. This kid has been putting together a string of 100-yard games. And when you see that the kid seems to be running with more confidence, he seems to be saying, hey, put it on my shoulders, I'll do my part, and hopefully the team will catch up. And that's made Coach Holgerson and his staff give a second look at these backs and being able to put the ball in their hands a little bit more often. I think it's a good thing. And I think it's key that we don't be stuck into these philosophies. I remember early on in recruiting, you hear about the different types of quarterbacks. You hear those drop back quarterbacks, triple threat quarterbacks, and things of that nature. But yet, when it comes down to just playing football, you need a guy who can play within your system. And although we want to be in this air raid deal, it seems that right now we're a running football team, and we should probably stick to it. Especially the two guys having 100 yards rush. Russell Shell last year was the man who put together a string of 100-yard game. If he starts to get comfortable, I think he can do pretty good. And as I mentioned earlier, right now is the time where we need Russell Shell and Smallwood to be that tandem and be able to put together a string of consistent games.
I think Wendell's clearly established himself. He's separated, in my opinion, from Russell Shell. Wendell's got to be our #1 guy that's going to get the overwhelming majority of the carries, and Russell's got to be happy coming in and being the #2 guy. That doesn't mean he's a lesser back. That doesn't mean he's not going to play on Sunday. Some days he's not almost as equally as important to the team. But I think he's got to get the carries. He's really separated himself in this running back race, and I want to see him in there when the game is on the line.
And he did. In this game, Smallwood had 22 attempts and Shell had 14 attempts. The difference, though, that's kind of not necessarily obvious, but there's a change up in the offensive line this week. All season long, we've been playing with Marcus Lucas on the right tackle position. We put him on at left tackle this game, and although he gave up 3 sacks, we was much better running, which is kind of odd because you usually have your best tackle on the strong side of the ball. You tend to run to the strong side of the ball, but yet we were able to put him on the weak side and get production out of our running back. So that change up with Lucas at left tackle may be something that we need to stick with for a while because it seemed to work this game. Hopefully we can get a good showing this upcoming game. Again, Lucas, Hanky, and Arloxy on that left side, I thought did a decent job. And as our panelists from last week mentioned, the offensive line seemed to be doing much better than what they initially started off as.
Yeah, they played better. We put a freshman in. Well, he's a sophomore now, but Marcus
Yes.
started for the first time, and it had been kind of he hadn't panned out. He was a big-time recruit, had Ohio State, Alabama, all the big-time schools after him, and he chose us and thought he was going to come right in and play. I guess had some maybe work ethic issues that he himself has acknowledged, maybe held it back a little bit. So it was good to see him get in there and be effective. I don't know how he graded out precisely after the film was broken down, but at least from the naked eye from the stands, it looked like he held his own and maybe pushed some guys around a little bit in there. And I saw the boss kid pushing some guys around. I know he's had some trouble. So, we're going to face a different caliber, different quality of defensive linemen in front seven next week. Although Texas has been susceptible to run too, Texas Tech has just been dreadful. They've been terrible all year long. Everybody's been able to run on them. So, hopefully this is not another one of those fool's gold things. But they did what they were supposed to do against Texas Tech.
They did. And again, another thing that kind of stood out to me is that we got K'Ron White in the game. And that he led receivers in receptions this week. The kid seems to be coming into his own, and that's one interesting thing that I'm starting to see, that Coach Shoulders is willing to give the other guys a shot. We missed a lot of passes the week before. And this week we saw a different cropping of guys, a different lineup where they saying, you guys are going to compete for these positions. And K'Ron White, I thought he did an excellent job this week. I think he had over 80 yards receiving. What do you think of K'Ron?
Well, I thought it was great. When you drop the ball, someone else is standing behind you that wants to catch it. So K'Ron came in, done a nice job. He looks spooky, scary. Like his brother, no one wants to make those comparisons. I understand they want to be fair to him, but he has a physical build like him, big, strong, fast guy that can run strong. He can pull the ball away from receiver and a couple of those tight passes, move forward, ran over a guy. He looks like he has all the potential. And, we got a whole crop of young receivers that have a ton of potential. Hope that they continue to develop and continue to get better.
And that's what I'm really excited about. I'm excited that we got a crop of young wide receivers that will grow into their position. And if we get the quarterback get on the same pages, the receivers I think will be just fine. I just know how important it is for that quarterback wide receiver relationship to be great. When we talk about Kevin White, we talk about his first year when he came in out of junior college. I wouldn't necessarily say he struggled, but there was the same type of issues in terms of timing issues and repetition. And once they got on the same track, there wasn't a better offense than Clint Trickett and Kevin White. So I'm excited about what we have in terms of offense. Although I think once we figure out how we want to manage our offense in regard to being a air raid or pass first offense and then a running offense.
You can run the ball out of spread formation. You can run the ball out of bunch formation. You can run the ball out of any formation. The important thing is that if you can run the ball, keep going. If you're successful running the ball, keep doing it. Don't stop until they stop you, because that's how you break teams, especially in November, especially when it's cold out at the end of the year. We've got 10, 11 games on your belt. We need to ride this running game in the next couple of games to get some wins under our belt.
All right, guys, we're at that time in the show where we ask our trivia questions. But I also want to remind you, if you're not here and you want to be able to win things, all you have to do is go to our site, make comments. Every week we're giving away a $100 Visa card. And we want you to win that. Every week we're doing it. So I want you, if you can't make it here, go to our website and make comments on our YouTube page. But for those of you that are here now, we have a trivia question. And you gotta pay close attention, because as we do every week, we give away these cozies. And they're very nice. We seem to be a fan favorite. So if you answer this question right, we'll get you a cozy. And the question is, how many games has Wendell Smallwood rushed for more than 100 yards in this season? It is a multiple choice question. A, 1 time, B 2 times, 3, C 3 times, and 4 none of the above. Raise your hand if you got a question. C 3 times, so you are correct. You're going to win one of these coaches. And I see you every week, so I know you're watching the show, you're paying very close attention to the Mountaineers. So, sir, once you can add this to your collection, we'll give you a couple. So again, guys, you want to be like my friend here. Come down here every week, be with me, trivia questions, and I'll always give you something. Again, you can check us out every Wednesday from 6 to 7 here at Sableton Station. If you don't catch us here, make sure you go check us out at dpost.com. Alex, let's jump right back into this thing. One component that I'm always guilty of, that is looking at our defense and being critical of our defense. Our defense did a decent job. One guy in particular that I want to mention is Nick Kittikowski. I thought he had a great game. He had an excellent game. Although his stats may not show in terms of, I think he had like 4 tackles and a couple of assists here and there. But I've been watching Nick lately, and I just noticed that he is becoming a great leader for our Mountaineer football team. And I think when he does well, that defensive line does well, and that front 7 seems to be much better. What do you think about our defense this past game?
Nick's been consistently good as well. The offense that Texas Tech had, they were averaging whatever 600 yards per game. We held them to like 378 yards, which is still a lot of yards, and they moved the ball on us, but we did enough to win the game. Did enough to slow them down, mixed it up, got some pressure. Yeah, they sacked the guy a bunch of times, but got some pressure on them. Their quarterback was slick. They had a good running back, Grant. Receivers, fantastic receiver. KJ Dillon did a fantastic job. I guess held him to 8 yards. Nobody would have predicted that they would have tamped that guy down that much. So, overall, it wasn't a dominating performance, but I don't think that we have a defense that's going to dominate anybody, nor do I think Texas Tech is going to get dominated and shut out by very many teams. They've been able to move the ball on everybody. They were a crazy fluke play away from beating TCU. They've been able to move the ball on the teams they play. They don't have any defense whatsoever. So, yeah, the defensive performance wasn't dominating, but it was good enough to win against a pretty good offense.
Right, I agree. And why I pointed that out in particular, when you don't have a defense that has a leader in terms of how we lost Carl Joseph, you have to learn to play together. You have to be able to rally your guys, and somebody on that defense has to be able to get the guys moving. And you don't necessarily do that by yelling or screaming. You do that by performing. You do that by hustling to the football, by being where you need to be, taking on blocks, making sure you're covering up guys who need to be covered up, and get to the football. And that's what I'm starting to see out of this linebacker corps, specifically Nick Kittikowski. Barber seems to be coming in his own, and I'm kind of overly critical sometimes because that middle linebacker spot, I think you need to be flowing all the time. I think you need to be running and filling those gaps. And again, it's not to be critical, but as an observation, as a former defensive player, I want to see our linebackers move and get to the ball. And I think Nick Kittikowski is kind of doing a better job than the rest of our guys right now. And I wanted to point that out and encourage the guys to keep playing as a team. That is so important. I remember my first year, if I could regress for a second, and we came off that 90-degree season. I was a new guy on the team. We had Puppy right back from him, played that middle linebacker position. People didn't quite know how it was going to pan out. The trick was I had guys behind me and surrounding me that helped our whole team be better. We started the season off 1-4. 1-4. After coming off of 12 of those seasons, not 12 of those 11-1, to having a follow-up season starting on 1-4, it was really important that we got everybody behind us moving in the same direction. And that's kind of what I'm asking for in terms of being critical with the defense situation. We lost Carl Joseph. Now every guy on our football team now has to be a contributor in a big way for that defense.
I mean, every year you're going to lose people, and that's just the nature of the game. People are going to get hurt, and the next guy's going to step up. But I think the big thing that I saw out of the defense was their willingness to fight. And that's hats off to Holders and hats off to Gibby for keeping this team together. The defense really has been exposed badly in a couple of games, so it was good to see them go out there and fight and perform reasonably well and well enough to win against a pretty good offense.
You know, one turning point, not necessarily a turning point, but one point of the game that I thought was critical, and this goes to the third side of the ball, as Coach Hogan would say, all three sides of the ball, and that was in the kicking game. That was right before halftime. Right before halftime, we were able to go up by 3 points in 17-14. I thought that was real critical for our team, because I don't know if in the last couple of games we haven't gone to halftime with a lead.
Well, we go in with them doing the same thing to us. It seems like they're getting the score right at the end of the half to kind of take away any momentum that we had. So that kind of maybe tamped down or choked down Texas Tech, whatever momentum they had going into the halftime to be able to go down there and kick that field goal. Special teams overall probably wasn't our band today. Nico Toole needs to spend less time worrying about his beers and being cool on the sideline and funny stuff he's going to say and put shank and punts out of bounds because he had a couple of bad ones there.
He did, and you know, I know that there was I think it was a Walker kid, Phil in line that made a huge play. I think right before that halftime. Sean Walters, yes. What was so, for me, what's impactful for a team right before halftime? Typically, this is what happens. Tell me if I'm wrong. Once you make a big play back like that, you go in that locker room and you start banging each other and say, let's go, guys. We can do it. You start feeling good about yourself. Then you come in that third quarter, you know that you can compete. You know that you have the ability to make big plays. And that's why that particular play was so important to me. Right before halftime, you get a big hit and you go in ahead. It's so important that we do that, guys. Take every opportunity to be special. I remember Coach Neal used to talk about that, and I've said that a few times on this show. Special teams are for special guys. For Sean Walters, him going down making that big play was his attempt at being special for his football team. And so, guys, keep that type of play up. That is so critical that we do that every week when we go out there and work in the Mountaineers. Let's talk about Alex in overall, because we're going to move on to Texas here real soon. Give an overall assessment of how the team competed in regard to offense and defense, pulling it all together for the game.
Well, I mean, we won the game, and that was the most important thing. This is a team that was struggling, desperate, and needed to win. I really thought this was a crossroads game. If we lose this game, who are we going to beat? Who are we going to beat? Kansas State looked pretty good against Baylor, right? Yeah, maybe we're going to beat Iowa State. I don't know. Maybe we're going to beat Kansas. Iowa State pounded Texas. Texas is going to have fantastic players. If we lose this game, I really think the team's confidence, let's say this game, the Tech game, the team's confidence is just as far south as you can go, probably beyond repair. So I was happy with the team's fight. They continued to struggle. And, we've had some bad things happen. We were able to come out and get a lead early on, which I've said was important. This team needed something to boost its psyche a little bit. Got that lead early on, was able to dominate with the running game, be able to hold them down enough on defense, because Texas Tech is a very good offense, hold them down enough to give our offense a chance to win the game at the end of the game. And that, we got the ball with 6 minutes left at the end of the game there. And I'm thinking, man, we need to get a score on the board, put this one out of reach, because there's no way we're going to be able to hold the ball for 6 minutes. And we start off, we had a good run, then a bad pass, and then Russell Shell was able to draw a penalty, a personal foul penalty, apparently from a guy that he used to play with in the Whitfield, maybe from the Keysport. I don't know what he said, but he was able to get that guy to smack him in the head right in front of the official to get a cheap first down to keep the drive going there. I don't know what Russell said, but say it again, see if we can get another one down the road. He was able to move the ball, run the ball. We had a couple of pass calls there. I've read where apparently they were check with me situations where Skyler, when he came up to the line of scrimmage, would have a run-pass option, which is something you often do. Check with me. I'm going to call either running play, or pass play, depending on the amount of guys that are in the box. And, if I've got any criticisms, it's of that play call. I don't think Holgerson should have given him a run-pass option at that point. It should have been a run-run option. I don't care if you're the air raid guy and you got the best quarterback in the world, the way we were dominating that team, running the ball. But that's the way it worked out, and Wendell Smallwood bailed us out 2 different times on long third down plays. He was able to extend that drive all the way down and have those 2 crazy calls on the goal line where Wendell, I thought, got in, and they blew the whistle, said his forward progress stopped. I was about ready to plug my top in the stadium at that point, and then have Skyler on the sneak look like he got in to me. They stopped. The referees love to make that call on the pinch line. They love to act like they're able to see that he stopped. That's a touchdown. You got to call that a touchdown. And then some goofball in the tech team pulled his helmet off. So, we were able to get a first down at that point, and you can imagine everybody that had bet West Virginia for that game and taking the points, because we were up, 5 points, and there was 8.5, I think, or 8 points we just spread. All those people in the betting public were celebrating, cheering. West Virginia's going to win. We're going to cover the spread. And then the coach decided to take a knee for 4 straight plays. So, overall, it was a satisfying thing, and hopefully we can use that to build on going into this next game.
What's so interesting is that there's been a lot of criticism of referees lately. They're making this bad calls. And when you hear it from the Mountaineer fans, you're going to hear about it when you make bad calls. And I don't know, maybe that's a good call, in terms of Shell being able to get the guy.
But both of them are good calls, and they're one in your favor. I'm taking all the ones in my favor. I don't care if you're bad.
And because when we were in Baylor, there was a lot of stuff going on that was a lot of fans talking about. But again, that's their job. We'll let them do their thing. For our Mountaineer faithful until I die, keep going out there and banging, man. We got to be able to do this weekend. We're the Big 12 now. Every week we're going to be playing a stiff competition. And it's going to be important that we get up for these guys every week. Guys, again, we're going to get ready to transition and go into Texas. Before we do, I want to give you guys another trivia question. So again, hopefully you pay very close attention. And I want to remind you, don't catch us here and you're not able to get any trivia questions. Make sure you go online and make a comment at our website. Go to our YouTube site and make a comment. And we're giving out a $100 Visa check card every week, guys. So make sure you go down there and do that. So listen, very closely. Listen to this very closely. You gotta be an avid watcher to get this. How many times has Russell Shell rushed for more than 100 yards this season? Russell Shell, this season. Multiple choice question. A, 1 time. B, 2 times. C, 3 times. 4, none of the above. All you have to do is raise your hand and I'll call you. And you get a chance to win one of these coaches.
1 time.
What? My friend right here, he knows his stats. He is here. He's watching Mountaineer football, and you're going to add this into your coaching collection. At the end of the year, I want you to come back and spread those coaches around and show our fans how dedicated you are. I certainly want to thank you for coming out every week. You get prepared for these trivia questions. Again, I just want to thank you. For those of you who want to now come down here and compete against my friend over there who comes and gets these trivia questions, just come on down here to Sabre Station. Every Wednesday, we're here from 6 to 7. If you don't catch us here, make sure you go check us out at thepost.com. Again, guys, me and my man Alex here, we started this thing off, and this is kind of like half of the season for us. And we're going to go in talking about this Texas team. When you think about Texas, they come in here, they're 4-5, not the typical Texas team that we've seen in the past. They got a new coaching change. What do you think about this Texas team and Coach Charlie Strong?
I think Charlie Strong's a good coach. He's had damage numbers for the last couple of years. last year. Anyhow, while he was at Louisville, he came in and clipped us in 2011 with the Louisville team. It was a huge upset and almost completely derailed that Orange Bowl season that we had. So Charlie Strong can coach. We know that. We know Texas is going to have a 4 or 5-star player at every single position. They're going to have a ton of guys that are highly recruited. But for whatever reason, they've been a real enigma. Over the last couple of years, and this season, really haven't been able to put it together. It seems like they come out, they got hammered a couple of times early on. BYU beat them up, and it just really doesn't look right seeing BYU beating up on Texas. It just doesn't look right. They lost to a decent Cal team that's not setting the world on fire in the Pac-10, and then turn around and beat Oklahoma, a team that probably, at least at that time, was considered the front runner, one of the front runners in the Big 12. So they really manhandled, ran all over. It was what they wanted to do against a pretty good Oklahoma team. I think it was the week after Oklahoma beat us, right? And then they turn around and get beat by Iowa State 21-0. I didn't see any of the game, but I could look at that score and say, what's going on here? Iowa State and Texas, that's just two completely different answers that we're talking about. So, yeah, I don't know what Texas' situation is. There's obviously problems with chemistry in the locker room, maybe too many Chiefs and not enough Indians. It's hard to say what's going on. Charlie Strong's been on the hot seat. I think they carried him off the field in the Oklahoma game, and they're probably ready to stuff him under the bleachers after the Iowa State game. So it's really kind of hard to know what to expect out of Texas. I do know that they're a running football team, and that they're not very proficient in the passing game, that they're going to have 5 big physical offensive linemen that were all fantastic high school players coming out of Texas, probably all 5-star recruits. They're going to have a fantastic running back. Both of their quarterbacks are dual threat, probably more running guys than throwing quarterbacks. So, our defense is going to have a challenge matching up with them man for man. We're going to have to play a team game. We're going to have to be able to stop the run. Start the run, we win that football game. On the flip side, I think we got to be who we are on offense. We're going to have to pass the ball a little bit. I don't think we're going to dominate this Texas defense like we dominated Texas Tech's defense with the running game. We're going to have to pass the ball a little bit, but I still don't think we can put Skylar Howard behind the chains with a lot of third and long situations where all the guys are lined up on the other side with their ears pinned back, rushing the quarterback. Because I think that's where Skylar is showing he's prone to make mistakes. So we're going to have to be able to mix it up a little bit, but still predominantly be able to run the ball, be a running team against this Texas football team, because they've been susceptible to run this year. It's Charlie Strong's thing has always been his defense, but for whatever reason, they haven't been able to put it together on the other side of the ball.
Right. What's interesting about that Texas team, again, this is Coach Strong's second year with Texas, and he's kind of just finding his way. I've been talking about this Texas team for a couple weeks now with friends, just talking about how you have to win at Texas. Now, we find ourselves in a peculiar situation because Coach Hogerson has to do well against Texas. Coach Strong has to do well against West Virginia. Right now, the series is 2-2, and it's going to be, this is the tiebreaker right now here at Morgantown. Last year, we went down to Austin, and we lost 33-16, and the Longhorns never trailed in that game. It's going to be very, very interesting on how we approach this game, because as you mentioned, 2 weeks ago they lost against Iowa State after beating Oklahoma. When a team finds themselves in that situation, maybe they beat Oklahoma and they really high on themselves. Then they go in thinking they're going to dominate Iowa State and get it handed to them. Now, they just played Kansas last week. They had over nearly 600 yards total offense. And that wasn't typical for Texas prior to this past weekend's game. So now they lost the game, and now they are feeling good about themselves. They had over nearly 600 yard offense. Right now they're coming into Morgantown with a lot of confidence. And that could be very tough to battle when these guys are coming in and say, hey, we ain't got nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose. We're coming here 4-5. think with having two quarterbacks, dual threat quarterback, that we have to be on our P's and Q's, because either one of these guys can come down here and do damage if we're not very careful. And I agree that Coach Strong's strong point is his defense, and the challenge has been his offense. Whenever they find a way to put those two things together, they're going to be a team to reckon with in this Big 12. Dana has to be able to give him this game. I think this is that 2-2 series. We got to find a way to win this one.
I think we're a better football team than they are. Maybe not a lot better. We don't have better players than they do, but I think we're a better football team than they are. But they are in kind of a desperate situation. They're 4-5. I think they have Texas Tech coming up. I know they got the Baylor's for the last game of the year. I can't remember who else. Oh, they were us. That's it. So they got to beat us. They got to beat Texas Tech because they got to figure they're big underdogs against Baylor to get to a bowl game. They're going to have to win this game. They're going to have to be desperate. On the flip side, like I said, I think we're a better team. And every game for us going forward is a must-win game too. I think Coach Overson's felt the hot seat a little bit. Every game for us going forward, we don't win this game, and there's a chance we might not go to the bowl game. So it's a must-win game for us. We're a better football team overall than they are. We've shown that throughout this year. You can't get awed by the fact that they got that Bevo, Texas, they're like Penn State, like Miami, those big teams who used to come in and scare the Mountaineers from time to time. You can't let the reputation overcome what the level of their team is. I think we're a better football team than they are on all three sides of the ball.
You know, one thing I noticed about this Texas-West Virginia game, from the first time we played it, first time I saw us get it on with it was like, man, this is a hard-hitting game. It's like a slugfest. These guys are hitting hard. Everybody's fast on both sides of the field. We're going to have to be very physical against this team. There ain't going to be no time for second-guessing anything. We're going to have to play downhill, be ready to attack. Skyler has to have one of his better games and not let the rapid toss and playing Texas get into his head. And he got to be safe, too. You know, one thing I worry about is when he's running, seems to be running a lot more than Trent did last year. And I get worried about that, especially against a team like Texas. They're going out and they're trying to empty all their bullets in terms of attacking the Mountaineers. I feel just as you do. I think we have a better combination of guys in terms of continuity, guys who felt like they were in the trenches together. I think Smallwood is on a pace right now, and we can just be consistent now. I think we walk away with a win in this game. But again, we're going against a cat that's in a corner that's trying to fight his way out. It's going to be very important that we do not look over this team or leave any stone unturned playing against Texas.
I think we've got to establish the running game early on. I feel so strongly about that. Even though I was a receiver, at least that's what I was known for in my senior year in college, was a receiver. Those passes, they all look great, and the girls like the receivers and the quarterbacks, but you win football up front with the dominance of your offensive line, with those big uglies up there, able to push the guys off the ball and the running backs. That's how you win football games, particularly this time of year. And that's what we have to do against Texas. We've got to get that running game going. We've got to get Wendell Smallwood going, Russell Show going. I think we can take this team's heart early on if we're able to establish the running game, get a few scores, put them behind the chains where they're starting to have to get out of their comfort level. They don't like to throw the ball. They've been very bad, very poor at throwing the ball. So we get a lead on this team. I think we're going to be okay. We're going to win this game.
Guys, every week we're going to be having these discussions about the Mountaineers, and we want you to come down here and support what we're doing. Alex and I have been doing this for 2 seasons now. We're going to get better at it. We want everybody to come down here. We will. Hopefully they'll act back. But we want to get ready to move into our questions. And before we get started, I want to mention, again, I gave you a couple options on how you can interact with us. You can come down here and watch us live. You can go to our YouTube channel and comment and win money. And you can also send emails. You can send emails to inthehuddle@thedepost.com. That is inthehuddle@thedepost.com. And we'll read your email here live, and then we'll try to answer our questions. We have one email tonight, and we'll start off with the email from think this is our second time emailing Alfredo Bowen. Ask this question. What can WVU do to overcome this losing streak they seem to have going? The upcoming opponents aren't getting easier. We kind of talked about it. So the question is, what can we do? Quick answer. What's the last one?
I said we already entertained that losing streak. You must have missed the last game. We beat Texas Tech, but quit making so many mistakes. We're turning the ball over. Don't make dumb plays, dumb penalties. And I think that's what we did. We didn't have as many penalties. We had a few dumb play calls at least. We weren't perfect on Saturday, but we played well enough to win.
Right. I agree with that. We did exactly what we needed to do. And I think moving forward, the guys understand that. The guys understand it. They don't go out there and try to lose games. They're battling every week. And you as a Mountaineer fan, know we're going to fight. Like catching dog every week to go out there and compete hard for the Mountaineers. So as Alex just mentioned, we've overcome that losing streak. Now we're in a situation where we're looking forward. We won our last game. We're looking forward to Texas, and we're excited about the opportunity to compete for you. And again, plenty of silly questions, because these are the kind of questions we need to answer here on a weekly basis. So again, I want to remind you, this is the only email we got so far. So we want to continue to remind you, send those emails to inthehuddle@thedpost.com. Again, that is inthehuddle@thedpost.com. And we'll get those out and answer your question to the best of our ability. So I guess at this portion, we're going to go ahead and ask for questions from the audience. So all of you that are here, we've been talking a lot, so now it's time for us to answer your question. So if you have a question, just raise your hand and we'll get right to it. Here we go. We got one. All you Mountaineers fans, ask questions.
Do you think that running the ball will help us set up our pass and the penalties and not making the mistakes?
Good question. This question was, do we think that running the ball will help us with the pass, mistakes, and penalties? Will running help us with that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you can run the football, then teams have to commit more guys to the line of scrimmage, commit more guys to the run. The defensive linemen can't get down in that three-point stance and just pin their ears back and run straight upfield. It changes the complexity of the way the defense defends you, and then ultimately opens up the passing game where you have shots for big shots down the field when you're able to run the ball. Whether it helps with penalties and mistakes, I think it helps with everything. It helps with your confidence. It helps to take the other team's confidence away. There's nothing more beautiful, in my opinion, than watching entire football pound and ground the team into submission, particularly at the end of the game like we did at Texas Tech.
You know, we talked about it. I've mentioned many times that I believe West Virginia is a blue-collar state. We look forward to the old Big East football. Bang, bang, bang. Power football. So to answer that question, will running the ball open up the pass? Absolutely will. And you have to think about this from a standard. Think about it this way. Teams who come to play us, they realize Dana Olsen, he's been touted as this passing genius per se. So they're going to come in expecting any and everything from a passing standpoint. Then when we switch it up and we tend to run the ball, I think we surprise everyone. One thing I don't like that we do is I kind of televise it. I was watching something the other day and I heard our coach mention, we're looking to be a running team now. I think you don't say that. You don't tell anyone that you're switching up your program. You just do it. You go out there and you game plan every week for what the next opponent. And I want that opponent to think that I'm going to pass the ball when I want to run the ball. I want him to think that I'm going to run the ball when I'm going to pass the ball. And we don't put any labels on it. We don't call ourselves air raid. We don't call ourselves a running team. We're a football team. That's kind of the old style that I'm used to. We're going to play football. We're not going to be air raid. We're not going to be a running team. We're going to be a football team. So, sir, I hope that answers your question. want to extend the opportunity for anyone else to ask any more Mountaineer questions. You got a question? Please raise your hand. Yes, sir.
Looking into your crystal ball, what is the most desired possible bowl game for us this year?
That's interesting.
I think we have a tie with the best bowl game that we could probably get to. I think we have a tie with the Russell Athletic Bowl in Orlando, Florida. I think that would probably be the best game we could get to. And it depends if we would get two teams into the playoff and the access ball and all that stuff. I'm not sure. Yeah, everybody moves up a slot that way. The Alamo Bowl potentially could come into play, but I think that's probably the number 4 Big 12 team at this point. And I think next up after that is the Russell Athletic Bowl. And there's a couple of obscure games beyond that, but the Liberty Bowl is still the one we played in last year, is still potentially in play as well. But I think Mountaineer fans have to go to Florida in December and January. That'd be ideal.
Absolutely. And I think the good thing about it, we have an opportunity to get to a bowl game. Mountaineers love to travel. And we've been consistent with that over the last couple of years. And hopefully our team gets there. I really hope that, because I mean, right now there's no giving. There's no giving game for us moving forward. I used to think there were. I really started, I thought we would beat Oklahoma State. You know, honestly, that was always a game and I thought we would win. So now every week moving forward, it's a must-win game for us to even get in the bowl game. And I agree with Alex. You know, the bowl in Orlando will be one that would probably be desirable for us.
We recruit down there.
Yes.
The weather's a little better there than some of the other opportunities. That Liberty Bowl's what, Memphis?
Yeah.
It could be cold in Memphis. Yeah. Talking about getting to Florida in December and January, so that would be ideal for me.
Great question, sir. Certainly appreciate that question. All righty then. Well, guys, we want to thank everybody for coming out on this Veterans Day, and hopefully, I know a lot of you guys are down in the parade, celebrating our veterans. And again, I just want to thank you all for coming out. I want to thank my right-hand man, Alex Shook, for coming down here every week and being very supportive of what we're doing. Guys, until next time, I want you to check us out at dpost.com. If you don't catch us, make sure you come down here so you can see us live. But until next time, guys.